This just got a lot harder for the New York Knicks as a new update throws a wrench in the New York Knicks plan for the future, and we got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Knicks Basketball 365. If you are a New York Knicks fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 14.8% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and it really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into what we got for today. Actually, before we jump into our biggest update here, we do have a small update that we do have to break down from Michael Scotto on X. The Chicago Bulls are hiring Jordan Brink as an assistant coach / director of player development, sources told Hoops Hype. Brink won an NBA championship with the New York Knicks as an assistant coach on Mike Brown's staff. Prior, Brink was an assistant coach for the Detroit Pistons. So just a quick update from earlier this morning, the New York Knicks are going to be losing one of our assistant coaches. Shout out to Jordan Brink for his promotion. Wishing the best for you, buddy. Hopefully you do great things with the Chicago Bulls. Just make sure they lose every single game against your former team, the New York Knicks. Let's jump into our real update here. We got breaking news. The NBA just saw a trade, and it's happening around one of the teams that the New York Knicks have been looking to make our own trade with. Coming from ESPN's Shams Charania, this just in, the Cleveland Cavaliers are trading Dennis Schröder and cash to the Charlotte Hornets for Trey Mann, sources tell ESPN. Now, why would the Charlotte Hornets picking up Dennis Schröder have an impact on the New York Knicks? Start thinking about it. We're going to read off another Shams Charania tweet really quick, but start thinking about it. Charlotte picks up an established veteran at the point guard spot who has a history with Hornets president Jeff Peterson and coach Charles Lee from his tenure in Atlanta at the start of his career. So the Charlotte Hornets pick up a point guard, which you may remember, one of the main reasons that we've been talking about the Knicks making a trade with the Charlotte Hornets was we were going to give them a point guard, which was a position that they previously struggled at. Now, looking at the Charlotte Hornets, they have addressed their biggest need, which was the point guard spot. Their starter currently stands Kobe White, who's been more of a shooting guard over his career. Clearly, the Charlotte Hornets believe he can be a point guard, or they would not have paid him as much money as they did. Slotting in as the backup point guard is no longer rookie first-round pick Christian Anderson out of Texas Tech. It's now Dennis Schröder. They have a veteran presence in there, a guy with more experience than the previously mentioned Christian Anderson, a guy who you would imagine is going to be better than Christian Anderson. Now, I'm not saying Dennis Schröder is going to be the world's best point guard for the Charlotte Hornets, but they went out and got a guard, meaning that's going to be more difficult for the New York Knicks to go out and try to send them either Deuce McBride or Tyler Kolek to address their guard spot, because they feel like they've already addressed that guard spot, which is going to make it more difficult for us to go out there and trade for one of the two of either Ryan Kalkbrenner or Moussa Diabate. We know where the New York Knicks currently stand. We are still looking for that third string center, and we are willing to make a trade happen to go out and get that center. We don't love the veterans who are available on a veteran minimum contract. The top name out there in that, fitting that bill would be Nick Richards. The fact that Nick Richards is not signed by Friday, August 14th, first of all, is completely baffling to me. But second of all, that essentially confirms that the New York Knicks don't want him. It also shows that for whatever reason, the rest of the NBA doesn't want him either. Again, baffling. Cannot understand that, but we're not going to dive too deep into that. What we know is the way that the New York Knicks have handled their offseason decisions on Tuesday, August 12th, or maybe on August 12th, maybe it wasn't Tuesday, but I believe it was Tuesday. August 12th, a deadline passed with Deuce McBride, meaning he is not going to get that extension. If the New York Knicks extended Miles McBride before 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, August 12th, then Deuce McBride would not have been eligible to be traded from the New York Knicks before the upcoming 2027 NBA trade deadline. The fact that the New York Knicks did not offer Deuce McBride a contract extension before that deadline tells us that Leon Rose wants to keep all of his options open, aka he's considering trading Deuce McBride before the trade deadline in 2027. That makes a ton of sense because the main reason why Deuce has been so valuable, on top of being a great player, he's been a great player on a bargain deal. Deuce McBride, without a doubt, is looking to cash in, and he deserves to cash in right now. But unfortunately for everyone involved in this situation, the Knicks are just not the right team for Deuce McBride to go cash in on. We don't have the contract space to sign him and remain under the second apron. So the Knicks are likely going to trade away Deuce McBride to go out and get whatever we can get for him. So we don't just, get this season plus postseason and then lose him for nothing. But at the same time, it would, of course, benefit the New York Knicks to go out and make that acquisition for McBride the third string center. Because, of course, then we not only solve the problem of not losing Deuce McBride for nothing, we bring back a player who can be very, very effective. Now, the Charlotte Hornets no longer desperately need a point guard, but they still have the other problem, if you can call it a problem. It's more of a suffering from success issue. But the Charlotte Hornets still have that logjam at center with Hannes Steinbeck, the 14th overall pick out of Washington, with Moussa Diabate, the starting center from last year, Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's entering his second year after a fantastic rookie season out of Creighton, and the newly acquired Naz Reid, who is going to be the starting power forward for the Charlotte Hornets, but it has a lot of utility as a small ball 5, and he's a good player who can fill in at the 5 spot as needed for the Charlotte Hornets as well. So the Hornets, there's only so many center minutes. It would make sense that they can upgrade one of their guard spots by getting rid of one of these centers, but after they go get Dennis Schröder, it is no longer a very pressing, fire alarm need for them. It's now just something that they can go out and say, we have the Band-Aid solution for this year, and we're going to have to go out, later on and find that long-term backup center. But Dennis Schröder is going to be able to bridge that gap for them this upcoming season, which is bad because, the trades that we would, of course, be considering would be something like Deuce McBride or Tyler Kolek plus second-round draft picks to acquire either Ryan Kalkbrenner or Moussa Diabate. Both of these players would be fantastic pickups for the New York Jets. Ryan Kalkbrenner, I especially like because he's cheaper than Moussa Diabate. At least you would imagine he's cheaper. It's possible that both players are untouchable, meaning they would be the same price. But going after Ryan Kalkbrenner, he is a somewhat limited player, but that one role that he does have is exactly what the New York Knicks are looking for. Both Karl-Anthony Towns and Andre Drummond are both offensive-minded centers. They are, they're both great rebounders, but they're not rim protectors. Ryan Kalkbrenner can be that 7-foot plus tall rim protector for the New York Knicks, grab some boards, dissuade Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo from going right to the rim. That's the team in the Eastern Conference that I am by far most worried about if the New York Knicks roll into the playoffs with the way that this roster is currently constructed, aka without rim protection, because they're not going to be able to get to the rim. But if you watch the NBA playoffs last year, the Detroit Pistons can't shoot, so they're going to want to try to get to the rim on us. The Orlando Magic, they can't shoot. They're going to want to try to get to the rim on us. And the Washington Wizards, also a little bit suspect with their shooting. Alex Sarr can't shoot. AJ DeBonta, not a great shooter coming out of BYU. That will develop, but not yet. So Anthony Davis, not a good shooter. So those are 4 Eastern Conference teams that are going to be attacking the rim should the Knicks see them in a first-round playoff series. And we know that once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. Just because you're the 1 or the 2 seed doesn't mean that you're going to be just, guaranteed to win that first round. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Go Knicks.